All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. So, I'm really excited today to be joined by our guest, Hawk Mikado, who is one of the top experts in marketing and lead generation. So, Hawk is the founder and mayor of the Funneltopia marketing agency and platform, and he's actually certified with both ClickFunnels and Go High Level, major marketing platforms that are out there. So, Hawk is also an Airbnb superhost and real estate investor, and has just recently got his real estate license and founded a national team, the Realē Happy team, for real estate agents to help them generate leads and increase their production as well. So Hawk has managed and actually helped consulted over 10,000 businesses, helping them increase their revenue, and he's going to be doing the same for real estate agents as well. So Hawk, welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have someone with, your repertoire and your experience here joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So, you've done quite a bit in business, and I'd love for you to be able to share just a little bit about, how you got started and, what really what was it that kind of drove you into what you're doing today, but also how you got into becoming a real estate investor and ended up getting your real estate license as well.
Yeah, so I've been doing marketing since I can remember. In second grade, I started selling stuff, and in sixth grade, everybody in my class got to start a business, and I ended up starting a marketing company. I remember my first client was a friend of mine. He was also in the class, and I made him business cards. Um, and I spelled his he had a dessert company and I spelt it desert. So and he's like nobody wants to eat the desert. I was like, shit, all right. Well, I gotta make those again. And I wasn't getting paid real money for this either. So I was getting paid fake currency from our school. And that was a good lesson to double check everything. But um I then started playing around with websites and marketing online and kind of learning a whole bunch of things. Most of it I learned is was probably wrong in the beginning. Just like most people, I went online, I went to networking groups and got some really terrible advice. And it wasn't until quite a few years later when I got a mentor and I started getting coaching and I started hiring team and I started doing all the things that I do now that have helped me to go from, this kind of one man show with trying to do everything to having at one point we had a team of 73 people and that was kind of the cap of my former agency. Currently we have I think 14 or 15 people full time, and then we have about a half a dozen part-time people as well. And that's just on the marketing agency side. And it's it's been a journey. One of the things I've really loved doing has been working with real estate professionals and real estate trainers. I've had a lot of clients in the real estate market over the years, and in our former agency, we got really, really good at appointment setting. That was the systems that we got down. And then when my partner and I split, we took those same systems and with the power of AI and with the power of some of the better softwares and tools that are out there today, and some of which we have taken in as on our own, and we've rebranded. So Funneltopia is is a version of Go High Level, and but it's not just Go High Level. It's like 70%. That's like the foundation, but we add so many things onto it to help our clients specifically with focused on generating leads and then turning those leads into appointments on their calendar. So sales calls, sales appointments, listing appointments, right? All that sort of stuff. And over the years, I've had the pleasure of working with I think five different real estate trainers. Three of them were named Mike, ironically. Um, I have a whole concept that I came up with about naming, by the way. I know three Rogers who are all mortgage brokers, which is very interesting. Anyways, total side quest there. Um, but what I've got to learn from them and I got to help them with, right? So I showed them how to do the marketing and helped them with the marketing. And one of them actually hired me to build him a marketing agency for his clients and help his clients to be able to get the funnels and have all that sort of stuff. And so that helped me accelerate. I was already doing real estate at the time, but it just helped me accelerate some of the processes and learn how to generate leads faster um, and really just understand the whole 9 yards there. And then in terms of getting into real estate, so in 2012, I was in school. I was living, so it's 18, 19, um, maybe a little older than that. I don't know. um, Whatever, 2012 was. And I was going to school up north, and I was living between my dad's house and my mom's house, and also a few friends, and I just kind of bounced around a lot. Um, but my mom was had lost her job. She was going through foreclosure, and I was like, you know what, we should figure out how to do is how to, let's get this rented out. And while I was going to school, my dad actually introduced me to Airbnb. He had heard about it, and he's like, "You should check this out. You can spend a lot less money on your housing up there." So it was a vocational school, so I was literally doing 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and so I was spending $1,000, $2,000 every time I was going up just on hotels. And I was like, "All right, it's $300 for the week, $354, I think was how much it was for the week." And I was like, all right, it's $354. If I lose it, it's equivalent of 2 nights, it was 2 nights rent at the extended stay where I had been pretty going for the most part. And she told me everything. She broke down literally everything about Airbnb. We sat down one day and she just shared everything. She's like, here's what we've done, here's all the mistakes we've made, here's who we now avoid getting. And being that I had understood marketing, I really got a feel for it. I went back and I shared with my mom. I'm like, let's give this a try. What's the worst that could happen? Like, you're gonna lose your house in a month. So, there's nothing, there's literally no reason not to do this. Um, I moved out into the shed because I wasn't there most of the time anyways, but so like I moved out into our shed, which is it's a full shed, like a, not like a rickety shed. Um, it was like a little house. It was used as a doll house for the previous owners. Um, and we rented out. Our first guest was he was in the military. Um, Now he's actually technically retired from the military, but he was a contractor, military contractor. So he'd been active and then retired and then became a contractor for the military, and he was there for a week stint. Um, his stay paid for half of the mortgage that one week, and we're like, okay. She made the payment, right? She was able to come up with the other half, and she was able to avoid that. The next person was another half, and then like we got somebody for a month and they paid for the entire mortgage in that month. Like, it was like, okay, this works. Well, let's do this. um and it was really cool because we were able to save her house. And then, when I finished going to school up north, and um not long after that, I met my now wife, and so moved out and kind of did, we were doing our own thing. It was a really cool experience to see that, and then I kept managing. So we took the other three. She had a 4 bedroom. We took the other 2 rooms that she had available. One was being rented out to somebody else, and the other two were available. And so we rented those out, and that paid for her entire mortgage. She lived, you know, close to rent free for from 2012 to 2021 when she sold the house. and she sold it for $400,000 over what she bought it for. And she then moved out here to Florida and bought a beautiful house out here, and and I followed her because I've always wanted to be in Florida, so it was time to it was a great choice to be out here.
Yeah, yeah. So you've always been a problem solver, it sounds like. You're always looking for problems to, not necessarily looking for problems to solve, but whenever a problem arises, there's always a solution, right? And that's kind of the direction your mind goes in. So I think it's very, it's very interesting that, you end up running your own business and now kind of on the real estate side you're helping other agents solve that problem as well, especially with your team and also your agency as well. So one of the biggest problems I think I've seen in the industry with real estate agents is lead generation. They can't generate enough leads, especially in a market like kind of we're in right now where things are slowing down a little bit, to sustain their business and sustain their lifestyle. So you kind of come in and became that expert, right? Not just for your own real estate business, but also for the agents you're working with as well. So, what are you seeing as far as some of the biggest issues when you're analyzing the lead generation methods and strategies of other agents that you're seeing that are ineffective, and how are you able to fix that, or, point them to the right direction?
Yeah, so before I get into lead generation, there's something that I have seen as somebody who knows how to generate leads, and can get our clients leads, that irks me to no end. It's the choice to not follow up, because I can get you literally 100 leads today, and if you do nothing with them, then it doesn't matter how many leads I get you, they're not gonna it's not gonna work. And it really, like, real estate is by far the slowest possible industry on planet Earth. There's not a slower industry. It takes a minimum, unless you're working specifically with investors who are cash buyers, and even then it still takes time. If you're doing conventional financing and you got a really great lender, 21 days is the fastest that you could ever do anything. And that's assuming like you found them today, they're like, yes, I want to buy, and I've got a great down payment, and my lender's awesome, and they'll get, I'm already pre-approved, and I want to go see 5 houses today. I put an offer in today, it's accepted today, and 21 days from now, it converts. But that's on the buyer side. On the listing side, right now, at least in Florida, we're at 5 to 8 months. That's how long it's going to take you just to do this. That's the actual, they've agreed, and now you're going to do that. In front of that, there's all the time, right? Most of the people are not ready to list or buy today. And the agents who've been in this forever, they know this, which is why I like working with agents who, like, on the marketing side, I like working with agents who've been doing this for a long time, because it's like, hey, you know that I generate you 50 leads or 100 leads, one or two of those are going to be ready in the next 3 months. Not 50 or 100 of them, one or two. So, like, before I get into any lead gen, that is a huge disclaimer. Like, you have to understand this. If you don't, and you're expecting them to convert because you paid money for them to get, to get on your list, they're not going to convert right away. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that gets people down is they're like, oh, well, they're not converting. The leads that you gave me are shit. It's like, well, I can tell you that you didn't call them within 5 minutes. And that's a really important thing. If you can't call them within 5 minutes, call them within 30 minutes. And if you can't call them within 30 minutes, at least call them within 24 hours. But ideally, it's within 5 minutes. Um, and most people don't do that. I had a while back, we had a client who, um, we put quite a few, a couple hundred leads into their pipeline over the course of a week. And they called 30 of them. We had 700 and something leads, and they called 30 of them. They talked to 3 and got 3 no's. And they're like, oh, this isn't working. Like, you have 700 people who said that they have some level of interest in what you have to offer. And you're telling me you called 3 of them? Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do this. I can't call people. Like, I'm not like, okay, well, then this is not the business for you. Like, do not do something that requires you to be with human beings if you're not willing to be with human beings. So, I say that out of love and also out of it as a disclaimer, like, don't spend a dime on marketing if you're not willing to pick up the phone. That's really what it comes down to. And I know a lot of people and they play it slow and it takes them 10 years to grow their business. And, they make maybe high 5, maybe 6 figures a year. And they're fine with that. And they do zero marketing and everything comes from their sphere of influence and everything comes from going to networking groups and doing that kind of stuff. And that works for them. And if that's what you need to do for you to do your business, that's fine. But if you want to grow your list, you want to be able to take that list and expand it massively, be able to have, a team that is doing that with you, then you need to have systems to follow up. I don't care if it's you that follows up. That's the other thing. It just that person needs to be followed up within 5 minutes. And with AI, we are like 100 times faster with this, right? You can go further faster, which is really great. So with that, what was the actual question? Because
Well, yeah, you kind of answered it actually. It's the biggest problem that's out there with agents that you're seeing when they're generating leads, right? So the biggest problem that you've identified is that they're not, not necessarily not generating leads correctly. They're just not when they're generating leads, right? They're not following up. They're not doing the correct fundamentals, and they're expecting that whenever somebody clicks on their Facebook ad or YouTube ad or whatever their method of choice is to generate that lead, that is going to turn into an instant closing, and that's the wrong expectations that's out there. Would you say that's the biggest problem you've seen?
yeah,
um is,
yeah,
is
very well summed up. 1 to 3% of people will buy in the next 1 to 3 months. 7% to 10% of people will buy in the next 12 months. The rest will take 2 to 10 to never years. That's what it comes down to. But so that stat comes from our experience, but there's 5, well, 6 levels of traffic, but 5 that matter. One is the one that doesn't matter is the dead traffic. They will never buy from you no matter what you do, say. They will never work with you. You have cold traffic. This is, when I'm talking about cold traffic, I'm talking about awareness of problem. So they're unaware that they have a problem, and that consists of 30% of the whole market today. 30% of the market doesn't realize that they need to buy or sell a house, even if that could totally be the solution to the problem that they have. Of, maybe they're like, they're cramped in and like, I need a bigger house. Well, their thought is, oh, I need to rent, when buying would probably be a better solution for them if they looked at the whole numbers. Maybe they're downsizing because they're empty nesters, and they're like, well, we'll just keep the extra room in case somebody comes. And then every once in a while, I'm like, man, this house is lonely, but they keep it, right? They don't realize that the solution to the problem of the house of being lonely is to sell their house and buy a smaller one. Like, that's the solution. Sometimes the solution is to sell the house and go on vacation for the rest of their life. I've seen a couple people who do that. But those are problem unaware. And the next is warm traffic. So warm traffic is problem aware but unaware of the solution. So they're like, man, I need to downsize, and I want a smaller house, but I don't know if I should sell. I don't know if I should rent this out. I don't know if I should just keep it in the family and then go, buy a snowbird home, buy a home in Florida and live down there and then just leave this one vacant. They're not aware of what solution is the right solution for them. They have some awareness of what the possible solutions are in that case, but they're not specifically, oh yeah, I should sell my house. And that's where if you were to come in and say, hey, you want to downsize your house, your house is too big, you're an empty nester now, there are really a couple options: rent it or sell it. If you want to rent it, I'll help you get it rented. By the way, that means that you're making a month's worth of the rent. Um, right? That's $3,000 possibly. Or you sell it and you do, 5 times more work and you get paid 5 times the amount, and you're making 15 grand. And either way, you can help them with that. So that's warm traffic. Hot traffic is the next. By the way, cold and warm are both 30% each of the market. So combined are 60%. 30% is dead traffic. They will never buy from you. That leaves 90% total. The last 10% is ready traffic and hot traffic and ready traffic. Hot traffic consists of about 7%. They're aware of the problem. They're aware of the solution. And now they're trying to figure out which is the right solution and which is the right service provider for them. So it's like, okay, now that I know that I can rent, now that I know that I can, like, I definitely know that this would work for me. I know that selling would work for me. And I don't think that, keeping it vacant would be a good financial decision. Here's what I'm going to do. And they're now in the, hey, who here knows somebody that can help me sell? And who here knows somebody that can help me rent it? And they're going in there finding those people, which is then leads them to the ready traffic. Ready traffic is problem aware, solution aware, service aware. And now they're saying, I want to sell my house, and now I need the right real estate agent to do that. And that's 1 to 3% of the market. And most of the time, it takes months in this process.
Yeah, you see, most agents are targeting that last 1 to 2% of traffic, right? They're targeting the ready traffic. You see those in the Facebook ads that you're getting all the time.
Yep.
If you're on Facebook and you're following other agents, you're going to get those ads, sent to you. So is that kind of what you've seen as well? Is that most agents are only targeting that 1 to 3% of ready traffic with their messaging and their ads? Because that's pretty much what we've been seeing,
Yep.
just from all the ads that are that are kind of out there.
And that's the most expensive kind of traffic out there. So if you are targeting, if you spend, there are two ways to attract a lead in, right? The first is say, hey, if you're ready to sell your house, fill out my form. By the way, when Facebook sees somebody fill out that form, they're going to serve another person's ad to that. And that person's going to get 5 or 6 ads that they're going to fill out all their forms. And each one of them is paying $100 or $200 or $500 to Facebook to get somebody to fill out that form. So they're making $500 to $5,000 for that person, for each person that's looking to sell their house. But only one of them, maybe, is actually going to actually get the deal and sell the house. So you have to be comfortable with spending however much money it is just to get an appointment and know that you may not close. Now, if we look at NAR stats, it's like 84%, I think, of people hire the first real estate agent that they speak to. So hopefully that means that you're the first one that they speak to, which gets us back to call them within 5 minutes. Like legit, just call them. If you can get their address and get some additional things, send them a postcard through automation. And they should be like, hey, I saw, hey, John, I saw you were selling your house, wanted to sell your house. If you look at the other side of this postcard, you'll see the kind of ad that we would run to a postcard mailer that we would send to the community when you look to sell your house. If you want exposure to help sell your house quicker, here's how you do it. Right? And do things that are out of the ordinary. Go that above and beyond. So yesterday, I spent the day going to houses and recording videos for a walkthrough for a client who's not here local, and he wants to buy a house that's somewhere between $1 million and $3 million. Now, I guarantee you he spoke to other agents. Every other agent was like, oh, well, I need you to fill out my EBBA. And then I need you to fill out, and then I'm going to subscribe you to this email list of all this bullshit that has these properties that you may or may not even care about. And I was like, I'm not sending you like, he's like, can you send me an email? I'm like, no, I'm not sending you an email with all this stuff that you're never going to look at. Tell me what you want, and I will go and I will record 5 videos of the top 5 properties that I find that meet your description. You think he's going to buy from me? Yeah. And you know what else? He's a cash buyer. And now we're talking about him wanting to buy investments as well. Because he's like, hey, how long have you been doing this? And I'm like, well, I've been doing real estate for 12 years. Licensed in Florida earlier this year. And my focus has always been on helping investors find cash flowing properties. I know you're not an investor right now, but you might be, especially with, as a cash buyer, somebody's buying $1 million house cash. You better believe they can afford the rest. And now we're continuing that conversation on. Before I haven't even finished selling him the first house. But that came from immediately, we responded immediately. I don't actually know where he came from. This is the only thing that's confusing me, which is really bad to say as a marketer. But we have a bunch of press releases out in the marketplace. So that's the only thing I can think is that's probably where they found us. When we get further down as we go, I will ask that question, so I will know where it is. I just at this moment I'm focused on getting him the deal closed versus me worrying about where he came from. So really understanding how to get and how to make yourself stand out is the most important thing. What can you do that is drastically different from everybody else? If you work with a high net worth individual, I can tell you right now, they don't have time to go look at houses. I spent all day driving from house to house, back and forth across the damn county. Can you imagine if I was like, hey, let's go do that? He's like, I gotta fly in for that shit. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna make you do that. It's worth my time to go do that. And as we grow our team, like I will have, I've actually been trying to find somebody local to me for our team. We had 2 gals, neither of which signed because they were concerned about the business that they have instead of the business that they wanted, that they want, and which is the reason why and I was like, sorry, just so you know, you missed out on a potentially $1 million or $3 million commission, deal commission, because you were worried about the few leads that you have in your pipeline.
Yeah. See, that's a great point there, just that you brought up. A lot of agents are worried about the business that they have and not worried so much about the business that they want and that they can get right in the future as well. And that's why I think a lot of agents are not investing in their business. They're not taking the time to follow up with clients or potential clients that are going into their database. They don't really understand necessarily farming for business into the future. They're just kind of worried about the referrals and the clients they currently have on hand right now and trying to close as many of them as quickly as possible, which is, it's okay. It's just that's not necessarily the way to build a long-term business. So, you just kind of recap a little bit about what you said about what you're doing with your current client that you're working with. It's so important, to understand that, right? You're doing something different, especially for, higher price point clients out there. They're not going to want the same type of service and they're not going to expect the same type of service from just a normal kind of, you know, I don't want to make it sound bad, but like the normal everyday client that's out there, right? Especially if you're working with people, buying properties in that price range. And that's what I think a lot of agents they want to get into luxury, or they say they want to get into the luxury market. but they always have a hard time figuring out how to do it because they're not willing to do the extra work. They're not willing to put in the extra effort in order to earn the business of those clients as well. So yeah, man. So I want to kind of pivot a little bit into what you're doing with your team. So you did start a team pretty early on and just getting your real estate license and is pretty much immediately after you
Mhm.
got your license, you decided to start a national team. And so I'd love for you to be able to share a little bit more about what you guys are doing for the agents that will be a part of your team, how it's going to be structured, and how you guys are able to get agents more business and help them really build the lifestyle and the business they want when they first got into real estate. But they're slowly realizing that it's really difficult to do on their own.
Yeah. So, first things first, I do this both for my clients through our agency and through our team. The difference being what I'm going to share. The difference is on the agency, you pay us a fee for it, a monthly fee for it. And then on the team side, you pay us a percentage and it comes with coaching and a whole bunch of other support on the back end. So whether you choose that you want to join a team or not, we could help you do this. We provide a full-blown CRM. So that's Funneltopia. You get the full, get everything in Funneltopia, the whole CRM that manages your leads. You can call the leads, you can text leads, you can email the leads. It's all done right in the system. You can book appointments through there. We are implementing systems as well. Since I have been become an agent, I'm implementing systems to help automate and navigate some of the new regulations, but also some of the processes to help expedite the whole thing, right? Like there's so many different steps, and how can we shortcut those, and how can we make it simpler and easier as a whole? So that's the first thing, is the CRM, and that's your system to help you manage and run your business. Second is we have a full-blown marketing agency. So we provide a team that it's a 10-person team. They do your copywriting, they do your social media, they do your graphics, they will edit your videos, they'll run ads for you, they'll do your blog articles, so blogging and content creation. And we do press releases as well as part of content creation, and that's just something we do for all of our team and our clients. Um, we You get a data manager, you get an appointment setter, and then you get a project manager as well. So you get 10 people that are there to support you at every step of the way. Because here's the reality: if you're in real estate as an agent, your job is to sell. So you get a listing contract, it's to get the EBBA. That's your actual job. Now, most agents are also doing all their administrative work, which we are also working on specifically for agents. We're actually working on an add-on to our agency for a TC as an add-on, where it's an unlicensed TC, so they can't do certain things. They can't, put the listing on the MLS, but they could prepare a lot of that stuff for you and say, here's the stuff, copy this here, copy this there, click submit, and you're good. So we're working on doing that for $100, starting at $100 per contract, per agreement. So that's coming soon. I've been hounding my HR person. I'm like, we gotta find people for this. So your job is to not do all the administrative stuff. If you're doing your admin stuff, if you're creating your social media graphics, you get a listing and you spend 3 hours creating social media graphics, you realize that's 3 hours that you could have been spending prospecting or doing deals. And I don't know about you, but spending, let's say you spend $10 an hour, which is a pretty good rate for international, or $20 to $30 an hour for somebody here in the US to be your assistant. And I know you can pay less than that internationally, but you want good people. So the $10 an hour is a good rate. Let's say you spent $30 worth of their time to do a task. That $30 could have been worth $10,000 to $30,000 to you. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I see this happen all the time. People are like, oh, I'm making all these graphics, I'm doing all this. It's like if you don't have the money for it, do it, because it's an ebb and flow type deal. But if you're doing a couple deals a year, even, then you can afford to hire either an agency like ours. We have packages designed for startup agents, to hiring your own person, which obviously takes a lot more time and energy for you to figure that whole part out. But um, it's worth it at the end of the day to spend $1,000 a month. It's 12 grand a year, or 15 grand a year. 1,200 bucks a month, 1,200 bucks a month for somebody to do all this stuff for you part time. That is absolutely worth it. And it's so incredibly, it frustrates me when I see somebody going, "Oh, I didn't follow up with my leads, but I did create this social media graphic. Do you like how it looks?" I'm like, "Did that make you any money?" No, it didn't make me a damn penny, but it looks good. I'm so glad that I have this really cool social media graphic I spent 3 hours on. I'm like, yeah, but in that same time, you had 30 leads to follow up with. And out of those 30 leads, one of them might have bought something in the next 6 months. And that was just today. What about the other 5 days, 4 days of the week? Like, and this is what I see, and I see it happen over and over and over again. So when we work with our clients and when we work with our team, we take that off of their plate. You got a listing, you just send us the address. I don't need anything else. We will get everything scheduled. We will get your pictures taken care of. We will get the listing description done. We will run comps. We will run rental comps, because as an investor focused team, we want to bring it to all of our investors. We will create all of your social media graphics, and it's all templated, but it's not, it doesn't need to be done by the agent. We want you to focus on selling. That's the only thing you should be doing, is focused on getting contracts. We are trying to figure out to the point to where we could, and this will probably be something down the road, where we just hire agents on a salary basis instead of on a commission basis, and give them and say, like, okay, you're running all of our open houses in this area. You're doing, you're doing your tours. You're doing house tours with clients, or video tours for those who need the video tours. Um, it's like, that's a 20, 30, $50 an hour job here in the US. And depending on what part of the US you're in. But that stuff doesn't really make you money. And that's where having the team on our side, right? Obviously, if you're not on our team, you're not going to have some of those things. You just have the system, and you have the virtual team, not the in-person person. But we want to make sure that every single person that works with us, whether it's as our agency or whether it's on our real estate team, has everything they need to focus on doing more deals, instead of doing all of the admin work. Ultimately, is what it comes out to, that doesn't actually make them money. And so if that's something that, if you're listening to this and that's something that you want to be able to focus on doing more deals, we will generate your leads. We will put them in the CRM. We'll say, hey, you'll get a notification to call them. If you want to add in AI, there is a cost to that for us. So we just pass that along. So you would add, you can do that as an add-on. But it comes down to do what makes you the most amount of money, and is also the biggest joy for you. Like, if you don't like doing the sales, then there are teams, there are brokerages that will allow you to just do the admin work. And you can be a TC, you can be a licensed TC. I mean, I know a bunch of agents who just do that because they love the admin work. They don't want to do a single bit of sales. If you like being on the phone, but you don't like doing anything else, like, we will hire you and pay you 10% of every deal that you do, that you bring to the table, just for calling the leads that we get. Like, that's literally a job description in our team. You don't ever have to go knock on a single door. You don't ever have to do anything. Your entire job is to pick up the phone for the leads in the state that you're in. And actually, you don't even need to be in the same state because it's a referral commission, is how we classify it. So even though we're getting it, it's a double referral is how it's done. You do have to be a part of EXP in order to do this, obviously. Um, talk to either Kobe or myself about that, and then that way you can get everything in place. There's a job for everyone, and you just got to figure out what that is. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully, that inspires you to do more of what you love to do and focus on the things that make the money for you in a way that you enjoy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think, to sum it up, by working as an agent, by working with your agency or your team, they're able to essentially outsource all of the things that they really shouldn't be doing and don't really want to do and isn't making them any more money. And that way they have more time to focus on the things that they signed up to do as an agent and that will actually make them more money and move the needle in their business as well, which for a lot of agents, that's a big struggle because agents are mostly, for the most part, one person show or maybe one person with two or three VAs or employees they have. And it becomes very difficult to scale the business that way. And it becomes very difficult to take on more business. So, yeah, man, Hawk, I think you shared a ton of value with us here today. I think a lot of agents are going to take a lot of good points from this, especially agents who are struggling here in this market that don't really know what they're doing or don't really know what they're doing wrong. And I think they can take a lot of that with them and really start implementing some of these systems into their business and in their marketing as well. So for agents out there that are listening to this, that want to reach out to you, that want to learn more about what you guys are doing with your agency, or that want to know more about how they can be a part of your team, right? Because it is a national team, so they don't have to be local to where you are. They can be anywhere here in the U.S. What are some of the best ways for people to either reach out directly to you or to find out more information about how they can work with you, either on your team or through your agency?
The best way is to send me a message on Facebook. I'm the guy in the yellow suit on Facebook. And just say that you saw me on this podcast and saying hi to me. Like if you just say hi, I ignore those. So I'll be like, hey, I saw you on this podcast. I'm reaching out because I'm interested in learning more about this, or I wanted to find out how you do this. We also have a ton of videos as well. If you have like a specific thing that you want to do and you're not ready to hire an agency, you're not ready to join the team, that's totally fine. Just say, hey, I saw you on the podcast, and can you send me your video on how to set up ads? Which we did that one, that the video, right? So we'll send that to you, and that way you'll have that, and you can go do that. You can ask me anything. I'm generally an open book on most things. If it's something that I have content around, I'll send you the content. If it's something that I don't, and I'm willing to create the content, I'll create it and then send it. And if it's not something I'm willing to create content on, I'll say, hey, this is a little too complex, and it's more of a sales conversation, and we can talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We'll make sure to leave the link to your Facebook profile and a link to your team page as well on the description and the show notes down below. And then, yeah, guys, make sure to reach out to Hawk. I mean, he ended up doing a over 1 hour workshop with our organization here at EXP with just our agents on basically how to bypass one of the ways that kind of restricts agents on how they can run certain or can't run certain Facebook ads based on the housing category that Facebook or Meta Ads has. And it's really interesting, really insightful. He shows pretty much, exactly how you should set up your ads and how to target specific people and target a specific market of people and basically create your own demographic to run ads or retargeting ads to. So it's really interesting. Make sure to reach out to Hawk and he will share that with you. But other than that, man, appreciate you being here today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Is there any last pieces of advice, any last tips you want to leave with the audience here before I let you sign off?
I think at the end of the day, if you're here to be in real estate, be in real estate. It's do it with all your heart is really what it comes down to. Whether you're full time, whether you're overtime, whether you're part time, do it with all your heart. Because if you do that and you focus on the things in the business that you love to do, you will be able to go a lot further, a lot faster than if you're doing things that you're not good at and that you ultimately don't like doing. And that's no matter what you're doing, really. That's not just in real estate, but that it comes down to do what you love and love what you do.
Nice. That's actually some really great advice, man. Appreciate that. And I appreciate you being here today. Appreciate you tuning in and see you in the next show. Take
Yeah.
care.
Thanks for having me.